Welcome to your success. You've built a life others admire. You've achieved, delivered, and become someone people rely on. But somewhere along the way, it stopped feeling like yours. Mentor Krister Johnson and Elin know that feeling. After following successful paths of their own, they chose something different. More clarity, more freedom, more presence. Today, they help high achievers design lives that feel true, not just impressive. This podcast is for those ready for their next chapter. Not more pressure, not more performance, but a life that feels like yours with clarity and direction. Welcome to your success.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the To Your Success podcast. I am Krister Johnson and with me today
Elin as always, and I am in my room today.
Yes, you are. My business partner and my wife. And it's great to be back. We have just finished 4 weeks of summer vacation and now we are ready to make a great new podcast again. And this one is different. I have no idea what we're talking about. That's wrong. I have some idea about what we're talking about, but Elin, the coming podcast, Elin is in charge of the subjects and the questions. So feel free.
I usually like to talk about things that we just continue talking about whatever we want to talk about. So to keep it less formal. So this is more about the habits that keeps you average. So I can tell you a little bit about it. Our lives are shaped by what we do every single day. And the question is that are your daily habits moving you closer to the life you want or quietly holding you back? So today we will be uncovering the habits that separate average from extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
That's fun.
So I can ask you a question. Then which habits quietly keep people from reaching their potential?
The first thing that comes to my mind is the excuse, it is good enough, right? And it is related to what we in Scandinavia call janteloven, which is you shall not stick out, you shall not think you are something. And we have the same things in different ways all over Europe, I think. America is a little bit different. But average is, if you go to some Scandinavian countries, to be average, not to be seen, is actually a goal. It's more the culture is that way. I strongly disagree with that. I think good enough is the evil of great. Yeah, and because good enough is an excuse, right? And there is a movie with Jack Nicholson where he's in a madhouse and he says, "What if this is as good as it gets?" And that is not how it is, right? What we have today is a result of all our thinking, our feelings, and our actions so far in life. It has nothing to do with what we create in the future. You know, I often say to my clients, there is no relation between education, the number of years, and I don't talk about higher education, I talk about longer education. It's not a relationship between education and wealth, not education and happiness, right? And it has, what you have done so far doesn't tell anything about what you shall do in the future. So the first habit is maybe to say, well, it's good enough for me. If you want something, you should have it. Right? It's, why not? Right? Maybe you don't know how. That's okay. But if you really want something, you should have it.
Yeah, and I think I just have a thought about that, because when I told my children when they were younger, I always told them that why can't you just be happy with what you have? Why do you always have to eager for more?
Yeah.
Because be happy with what you have, that's a good thing.
Yep.
But stopping children from be eager for more?
No, we shall always be eager for more.
Yeah, so I had to take that back when they grew up.
Yeah, and it's I think the basis, I mean, the fundamental of life, first of all, is happiness, is happiness. You shall be happy. You can be happy if you really want to. Then joy, that is joyful, and that you always want more. And you don't, it doesn't have to be material things. It can be just one more. I'm sure my dad he spent a long time on passing away. I'm sure he was just longing for one more sunset, one more sunrise, right? Just a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And as long as you have these wishes and you are eager for more, then that's okay. That is life, actually. You know, we all the time, we fire what Abraham Hicks called rockets of desire. I want that. Oh, that would be nice. It can be a new car, it can be a new boat, it can be something else, right? It can be a feeling. I really want to feel peace. Yeah, well, that's a choice, right? That's a choice you have. It has nothing to do with how much you have.
Yeah, but maybe also the feeling of comfort. That's also a habit, to just being in your comfort zone.
Yeah, it is. And the comfort zone is very much an excuse, right? The reason why you don't go out of the comfort zone is because you don't understand fear. Most people say that, well, I fear it, therefore I cannot do it, because I have to be ready before I do it. That is like waiting for a result before you have done it. It's like, oh, when this happens, then I will do it. This will never happen until you make the decision and take the action. Right? So then staying in the comfort zone is just an excuse. And fear is a great message. It is a message to move. You know, fear and feeling uncomfortable, that is the feeling of growth. You give birth to the new you. You grow, you create, you stretch. You know how easily bored I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can be longing to relax and have a quiet day, and after 1 hour in that day, you just have to go out and do something.
I like summer vacation now. We took 4 weeks off. How long time did it take until I was bored? Like, I don't know, 5 days?
Yeah.
And then I got passive, and then I said, no, I have to go up to the mountains and have a hike. And then I was away for 1 week. Got inspiration, right? And it's like, it pushes me out of the comfort zone because it's comfortable just to stay home, and then you can go, we can have the morning bath, and we can do that, and we can do that, and I can read a book, but it's boring, right? I'm eager for more. We have a very good friend who's a specialist. He's a specialist psychiatrist. His name is Tom. And he said to me, Christer, I don't know anyone. And he had a lot of clients. He said, I don't know anyone who's so hungry for life like you. Right? I'm so hungry. You know, my life motto, how far can I go? Write about that in my book. Is like, and you know that, being married to me, and we work together a lot as well. It's like I'm pushing all the time, right? But it's because it's so boring not to do that. I've always been that. I'm so curious. I drove my parents crazy with all my questions, right? I woke up 4:30 in the morning in the bed, and then I shook the bed until it fell apart so I could get out.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like, well, I'm eager, right? All the time I want more experiences. I'm very, very easily bored, so I have to practice not boring, but being comfortable not doing things. It's related to me as a person being choleric as well. But I would say,
you focus on development and changing and doing new things. So that's who you are. You have become that person that always do that. So,
Yeah.
but for a lot of people, including me, like, used to procrastinate a lot, and I wanted to stay in my comfort zone, and I wanted to, like, procrastination was the big thing. It still has a bit of it, but I'm getting better. So for people like me, how does, like, procrastination become a lifestyle?
we have friends who have that as a lifestyle. They want to paint their house and they never do it.
That's true.
Yeah, and then they want more money, and they say, why don't you just increase your income? And they have a flat ready in their apartment, and then they don't rent it out.
No.
It's like, because, this might sound harsh, right? But for some people, it seems like it's better to be unhappy, continue doing the same thing over and over again, and then complain about it, than to challenge yourself, right? Maybe it is the fear of failing that is so big, right? Because in our society now, everyone in the Western world, we are very materialistic. There is a lot of money in circulation. People, if you want to be successful in terms of money, you can be that. I mean, there are enormous amounts of money circulating among people, but it's not evenly distributed, right? So what do? Those who are successful, they take action, right? They set goals and they take action.
And those who doesn't take action, they make excuses.
They make excuses and then they complain about it. Nothing happens. And then they say, why don't you do it? No, I have to wait until it's ready. It will never be ready. So going back to the question, what habits are, I wouldn't say mediocre, but if you want to change, then you could install some new habits. The habits you shall let go is, first of all, procrastination. Right? So if you want to do something, you shall take action. It doesn't have to be perfect. Right? There is a mathematical principle called the butterfly effect. And that clearly states that if you are 15%, not 50, but 15% right at the beginning, in your thinking, in your feeling, in your actions, then you are guaranteed a 85% success outcome if you just follow through. Right? You don't have to be perfect, you don't have to be great, but you have to start to be great. Right? Zig Ziglar said that you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So the first step is actually to dare to take action. And the first action you should do is write down what you truly want. There is a study at Harvard Business School that shows, at Harvard University or Harvard Business School, that that says that if you write down your goal, just write it down, there is a 60% higher chance of reaching it than if you don't. Because if you write it down, and you know that, Elin, if you write it down, it's a commitment to yourself. And it's so much easier to procrastinate on your thinking, but to procrastinate on something that you have written down, meaning that you have taken action, then it's a commitment to yourself. And that is why it is difficult for people to set goals, because a goal is a commitment to yourself. It's not, I would say half of our clients, right, and they're all high achievers, meaning that they have accomplished a lot already and now they want more. And half of them have quite clearly defined goals. Half of them don't have clearly defined goals at all. They just know that they want something else. Right? Very often, and it doesn't take more, when I have the first call with them, it doesn't take more than 5 minutes to define their goals. And then I say, write it down and email it to us, right? Because that's a commitment. But it doesn't take more, right? It's like our dear friend. You were traveling last weekend, and then I had a beer with her, and she has worked with us before as well. We helped her become a successful best-selling author, and then she said, "But I don't know what I want," she said, and I think she's bored, right? Because she's used to having goals, and now she has accomplished everything. She has the house she wanted there, she has her book, she has that, she has that, she has that, and then now it gets empty. Because you don't set up a new goal. 3 minutes it took. I said, and I just had that conversation after one beer. I had that conversation, what do you truly want? And she said, I don't know. Okay, so what do you want to work with? I really want to work with that. That's fine. Okay, goal number 1. And how much money do you want to make? And she said, I want to have that much money. I said, no, you cannot have the money. You have to circulate it. So you have to define how much money that you want to be wealthy, but how much money you want to make so you can circulate. Okay, so that much. Okay, then you have that. And then I said, then you have to define two habits or 2 thoughts or 2 things with you that take you to your goal, right? That you develop a stronger discipline and that you develop a stronger action so you don't think, because she keeps thinking around in circles, right? It took 3 to 4 minutes. Yeah. And I said, write it down on your cell phone, then you have it.
But you are really good at that, helping people finding their goals and finding out what they want, because you work with this every day.
I do.
That's one of your biggest, what do you call it, assets?
Maybe, yeah.
Helping people like that. So, but for you, I know it. How do you replace your bad habits with empowering ones?
Oh, I don't have any bad habits.
No, you don't. Okay, next question.
So the best way there are 2 ways well, as I see it, there are 2 ways of changing habits. Okay, so it starts with writing down your goal, right? Because not to clearly define a goal, that's a mediocre. That's not a good habit to have. You know, in absence of clearly defined goals, people become strangely loyal to performing daily trivia. What is daily trivia? It's smoking, not training. It is drinking Pepsi Max or whatever they do. They watch TV all the time, right? And it's like they don't take care of their life. It's like sometimes I wonder if they hope it's over, and when I ask that, you know, I can be direct. And they say, no, I don't want to do that. I said, why don't you make more out of it? But I cannot. Of course you can. If I can, you can. So it starts with defining a goal. Then it starts also defining who do you want to be. Right? I want to be self-confident. And people say, but I'm not. Well, that's a choice. I want to be happy. That's a choice. I want to be grateful. That's a choice. On my goal card, it says I'm 10 times happy and grateful. I had that until 12 months ago. Then I thought I had it. Now I had to put it back because I study myself. I'm not the one I want to be. I don't like me when I'm grumpy. I don't like me when I'm easily angered. I don't like me when I'm lazy. Right? So I say I'm 10 times happy and grateful. And I repeat that every time. Then, of course, a negative thought comes. But I don't give it energy. I say, no, that's all me. I'm always happy. And then I look for things that make me happy. Today I was walking out for 75 minutes and I was looking for all the butterflies, and I started manifesting butterflies again, and they're everywhere, right?
Again. He used to do that last summer.
I do that every summer. I did that when I was out hiking in the mountains as well, and then I saw a blue one, and there are not so many blue ones.
Right? But today, just believe that there is plenty of blue ones there.
Yes, and there are. Okay.
But how long does it really take for you to change a habit?
I don't know. Haven't thought about that. It can take a second, right? To change is really easy. It's just to decide, to make the committed decision that no, that's not me. This is who I am, right? I am. And because when you talk to yourself, right, you have to study yourself, meaning that you listen to your thoughts, you listen to your feelings, you listen to the language that comes out. And you say, I'm going to try to do that. No, stop trying, right? So I'm studying the language of our clients. You saw that we had a monthly Q&A with all our clients. And one of the guys, I corrected him on his language because he said, I'm going to try to do that. I said, you have to stop trying. You just have to do it, right? Just push yourself, right? So you have to be aware. You have to be aware of your thinking. And then the second thing, one thing is to study yourself, set goals, study yourself, and then correct yourself, right? Saying, I want to be that. Like you, Elin, if we use you as an example, when you procrastinate, say, no, I do it now. Right? You immediately reaffirm the opposite. The opposite of procrastination is doing it now. The opposite of procrastination is not, no, I'm going to do that tomorrow.
No.
The opposite of procrastination, and sometimes you say that, but I do it, I put it on the list.
Yeah.
But that is procrastination. The only way to stop procrastination and to train yourself to do that is to do it now. Everything else aside, I do it now. Right? So it's like me. I used to be afraid of spending money. I mean, I don't know why, because I never been out of money. Right? I always had money. Since I was 11 years old, I had the money. I started working at the field picking strawberries and potatoes. Then I delivered newspapers for 4 or 5 years. I always made my own money, right? Always worked.
Yeah.
Always made money. Never been out of money. But then I discovered that I was afraid of spending money. I just immediately said, no, I'm going to spend money, right? Not recklessly, but spend money, right? Circulate. So one thing is to study yourself. The other thing is to be in a great environment. You're never better than the closest 5 people to you.
Yeah.
You know?
And for people that's listening today and don't want to be average, and hopefully nobody wants to be average, but some always say that's good enough. If you don't want to be average, what's one habit you would encourage everyone to start today? This is like the final question now, so we're wrapping it up.
Yeah. It is to make a committed decision. Okay, so it's not a decision. A committed decision. Committed decision is something you do no matter what. Right? Comes to my mind now, Olaf Tufte. I used him as an example in our starter programs for many years, and now he passed away, 50 years old. But he made and I knew Frank Beck, who was his mental coach, knew Frank pretty well. And then, so that I never met Olaf, but that is why I use Olaf as an example, because Frank told me this story. Olaf had made the committed decision that he wanted to be Olympic champion he wanted to win the Olympics in Athens. I think that was in 2004, 2008. And then he called Frank the day before, the same day as the final, and said, we have a problem. And Frank said, no, I don't have a problem. I'm happy. I'm looking forward to winning the Olympics, and I'm going to watch that, and I'm going to enjoy a glass of wine or a beer on the terrace while watching it. And Ola said, yeah, but I don't dare to win, because I'm so afraid of people seeing me cry. All right? And then what did they do? They practice, because it was a committed decision for Olaf Tufte, the strongest, the toughest guy in the Norwegian athlete environment, to be the Olympic champion, but he didn't dare because he was afraid. But it was a committed decision, right? Mm-hmm. So he took the shit. What was the shit? He was afraid. And he challenged that, and he went to someone that could help him, Frank, right? And Frank helped him. And then Olaf said, yeah, I have it now. And Frank said, yeah, now you go out and crush them. And he did. He completely crushed them. He overcome his fear, which is very often a subtle, stupid thing. Mm-hmm. I'm afraid of what others people think. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Of course. Well, you have to get rid of that. When I left the corporate world, I was afraid of losing everything. Mm-hmm. Because outside I was successful, but I was not successful inside because I was not happy. Right? Committed decision is something you do no matter what. I want you to write down your goals. And say, no matter what, I'm going to do that. I don't know how long it takes, but I'm going to do that. Right? That is the committed decision, which is the most important thing. A decision that you don't act on, that is not committed. Right? Back to you. If you want to stop procrastinating, commit the decision, do it now. You cannot leave. You cannot leave the vacuum cleaner on the floor for 2 days anymore.
Okay, that's the next subject for the next podcast.
Do it now, do it now, do it now. And then be a part of a great environment. That is why we handpick our clients, That is why we create these environments where people can talk about this. Where people say, oh yes. Where some of the clients tell other clients, I think your goal is too small. I think you're capable of so much more. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. That's a success environment.
We are ending this now. I have to stop you. So, are you finished talking?
Yeah. Shut up, so I do that.
Wow.
Actually, I was thinking about that to sum up. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have worked with the same mentor for 5 years, I think, and it was before I left the corporate world. And I told the story before, but it's very, very relevant. It's about the committed decision, right? So I said I wanted to sail around the world. I want to have a business so I can run that business from sailing around the world. And I said that for about a year. And then one day my mentor said, you don't have a goal. He just realized I didn't have a goal. I said, what do you mean? He said, you have a wish or a hope or a dream. A goal is something you act on. That is a committed decision. And then I decided to leave the corporate world, which was so scary. Right? But do you want to go back to the life we had at that time, Elin?
No.
No? No. Me either. It's not easy every day, but we understand that the challenges we get is a part of the growth to become who we want to be, to help more people. Mm-hmm. Right? So it is in the moment when you make the committed decision from being a wish or a hope, oh, I wish I could do that. When you say it is a goal, which is the first step to move out of mediocrity, I'm going to do this. I don't know how. I'm going to figure it out. But I'm going to figure it out, and it's going to be great. That is a committed decision that will take you out of mediocrity and will create happiness. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thank you for listening to the To Your Success podcast. It's we do this to help you. And everything we do is to your success. As always, feel free to subscribe. Would really recommend it to subscribe and share. And if you are curious and you want to see how far you can go to release your potential, go to our website, christerjohnson.com, click on the Let's Talk button, and you can book a strategy call. You can qualify for a strategy call with us there. Okay. Until next time, have a wonderful day.
If something in this episode spoke to you, it may be a sign that you are ready for a different kind of life. Krister and Elin work with a small number of high achievers who feel it is time for their next chapter. If that feels like you can apply for a private clarity call through the link in the show notes. Until next time, to your success.